Hey YouTube, WLJK here. Second time I'm trying this. I turned on did too long. Just a quick, it's a little Q&A as to a setup. This is actually the setup I'm using for my computer to show you the basics of what you need to do some decent video editing and whatnot. Now, my system is not a store-bought system. I build my own systems because it's easier for me to upgrade, and usually when I bought a store-bought system, I ended up doubling the price on upgrades, so I just decided to start building my own. Now this board's nice. It's a micro ATX. As you see, it's made by MSI. It's not their best board. I can drop a 6-core AMD processor into it. And supposedly, I have to double check the reading on it, I might be able to put the new Bulldozer set in it. Now this does hold 8 gigs of RAM. I can run under this little flap. There's 2 more of the quad speed PCI slots, express slots. I could run triple Crossfire, but don't need it. I'm running 1 card. And here's the processor I have. Just a simple, this is about, at the time I bought this, this was probably about mid-range, if not a little bit higher than mid-range. And as you can see, 3.2 gig. That's pretty good soft spot for everything. The only disadvantage with this is most of the quad cores have 3 levels of cache. This one only has 2. That's not a big difference. It is a little difference, but not a big one. Here's the card I have. It's slightly overclocked, and I can overclock it even more. Excuse me. 1 gig of video memory, running DDR5. It's a good little card. That setup will give me close to 60 frames per second on a game of Crisis, the original. No, I take that back, not 60. It gets me about maybe 40 to 45. But when I get into the later levels, when you got a lot of enemies, you got to tune it down, which is no biggie. That's all stuffed in this case. Now, I didn't put a list up of the drives and whatnot. It's just a vanilla generic CD burner, or DVD burner I should say. Got 3 hard drives. Got a 250 gig drive is running all my applications in the operating system from Western Digital. Also a Western Digital 320 gig, that's got all my media on it. That's why I was originally recording on. Now that was one of their green drives, which slows down when it's not being used a lot. That was giving me the early stutters in Minecraft with fraps. So I upgraded, made that one strictly my media, and moved all my Steam games over to it. And now I'm running a I almost forgot the name of it. Seagate 1 terabyte Momentous, I believe it's called. It's one of their higher end, higher speed ones. That's why I'm doing all the recording, the PVR and the fraps. So I can still expand into this. I can get 1 more drive with the board I have, and then I can go later on and in one of those PCI Express slots slap in a card to add 4 more drives if I wanted to, and I have plenty of space to put them in there. Now software wise, just Windows 7 64-bit capturing is either fraps or the software from the Hauppauge. The editing, I use either Camtasia for the fraps or the Sony Vegas 10 for the video game stuff, which I still got to learn a little tweaking with that. There's still some issues. Now I used to do the recording with Turtle Beach headphones. I gave up on those. I'll explain that in a minute. This is the mixer. If you watch any of my newest videos, I talked about a guy mixer. This is the 502. Now, this is a nice, low-cost, foot-in-the-door mixer. I found out a lot of people were using this for their console stuff. So what I got is, I originally had the Turtle Beaches plugged into this line in, which was okay, but it wasn't boosting the volume of the microphone. So I ended up getting a new microphone, which I'll show you in a minute. Now, the settings I have right now is the level 1. The volume is up pointing towards level. That way the microphone is at a nice volume for you to hear me in both fraps and from the console recordings now. Because I used to have to talk a lot louder, and right now I'm not talking too loud. This trim up here, that's straight up dead center like it is. Everything else here is dead center other than the EQ. I turned the high down so you don't get as much, because unfortunately my computer is sitting like, let's say 7 inches from the mic, so you might hear a faint hum of the fans, because I got a few fans in that thing to keep it cool. Now for the audio coming from the TV, I could plug in 2 and 3, but I decided to plug in 4 and 5 because then all the controls are along the bottom. I don't have to mess with anything up here. So this row is empty. So the audio in comes into 4 and 5, and I got the level facing, actually it's pointing towards the other level. So you got, this one's at say 3 o'clock, this one's at 9 o'clock. Now the nice thing is, if I still can't get the volume quite right for the game, I can fine tune it with this. So that makes it nice. And then you got your main out, which the main out, I got the phones. I'm still experimenting. I'm gonna crank the max right now. I don't think I really need to go that loud, because I got the phones and the main mix at max. Those can possibly be turned down some. So then I have the left and right jack going to the PVR. Now the outputs here, I do use these for 2 reasons. One, from recording console, and I'm using these new headphones, which I'll explain in a second with the microphone. I have an RCA to a 1/8 inch jack adapter, and I plug my headphones in there, so anything that's going through the mixer I can hear. Now the second advantage of this is to record fraps. I unplugged the headphones from this, and I got cord going from this to the line in of the PC. That way everything that's being recorded and mixed on here is recorded that way. Now the thing is, when you record console gaming, you gotta unplug this, otherwise you get an echo. Now I don't know if the echo is because it's trying to replay it through the sound card or whatever. And that's another thing with the other system. I don't use a separate sound card. I'm using the onboard sound card. So that helps saving the money a little bit. But here's the biggest thing you gotta look for. If you go this setup, and especially if you get one and you want to use a mic, a decent stereo, or it's not stereo, studio mic, you want to go with an XLR connector. You want to make sure you have phantom power. Phantom power helps power the mic, and the mic itself will have processors in it to turn around and help control your sound. So that helps out quite a bit. That's where I was having trouble with the headphones, because the line in was not using the phantom power, so it wasn't boosting the headphone volume. It has a British equalizer, which gives you the nice warm sounds. It's not the, the digital. It's back to the analog with the advantage of digital. It makes it sound real nice, warm, comforting and whatnot. But this is the newest acquisition. This is the package I just picked up. You can find this anywhere from $55 to $70, depending on where you go. it's good for analog and digital recording. Now the digital recording uses a USB cable, which I don't use that. I go through the mixer. It does come with the cables. So I have the full-size USB to micro USB, plus I got an XLR connector, which is real nice. And you can plug the headphone jack into the mic so you can hear what's coming through the mic. That's all you listen to. But this is the newest acquisition. Now naturally I'm running, like I said before, I'm running this through the Hodgepodge. So I could have went with the Black Magic, but I didn't want to go through a lot of tweaking and stuff. You know, it was an internal card. I didn't want to take up too much space, cause more heat. So now this, by far, not counting the computer, was my most expensive acquisition. Sorry about this little thing. I couldn't get that off the screen. I forgot to. 42-inch. Didn't need anything bigger than that. Guy tried to sell me a 46. I'm like, look, I'm going to be sitting 8 feet at max away from it. I don't need a 48-inch. I'm going to be looking left and right. Or a 46-inch. So I went with a 42-inch, 120 hertz. It's a decent little TV. Now the only thing that sucks is if I play the Xbox and I'm not recording, I pop in the HDMI. Picture looks beautiful. I use the component. I knock it down to 720 so that the Hodgepodge records it at 720, and you get some motion blur and stuff. The nice thing is you got your component in. I have an option that if I want to record, if I had a Wii or any of my other systems, I can use a standard composite connector. I just hit a button on the remote and switches this whole section into composite mode instead of component mode. 3 HDMIs. Believe it or not, the 3 HDMIs are full already. Got my Blu-ray in one. Number 2 I got set aside so I can plug the 360 in if I want to just play it. And actually I got the Blu-ray in number 3, sorry. Blu-ray, the 360, and I got the computer plugged in one. Now you may ask why you got the computer. Well, late at night, if I want to play, say for instance my Deus Ex or whatever other series, I turn and pop it up on the big screen. It's sort of nice to sit back and look at the big screen and play it instead of crunched over the desk. But that's the TV setup, and of course the final piece that you need if you want to do console, 360 and or PS3 or system of your choice. But yeah, that's the setup. And as I flip backwards, you can take a quick look at the pieces again. Now, is it a high-end setup? No, I would say it's probably about, alright, if mid-range is half and high-end is 1, this is about 3/4. It's in between a high-end and a mid-range. Like I said, real simple, drop in a 6-core, it's high-end. And also this showing here doesn't show all the cabling and adapters and whatever, and I'm not going to show my speaker setup and my stereo setup for the audio video excuse me, or anything else. This is just to show the basic stuff you need or that you should look into to turn around and do your recording. Would I like to upgrade it? Yeah, I may in the future turn around, take out that 4-core and drop in a 6-core. The 6 cores are going to drop in price here in the next month or so, so I could turn around and drop. I can get an equivalent AMD 4-core, that's the black edition, and it'll actually run faster than the edition I have because it has the extra cache, but that's besides the point. But I hope this helped you get an idea of what to look into and how I do my recordings. And hopefully later I can turn around and do a better drawing than that Photoshop or that Etch-a-Sketch one I did. So this has been WLJK. I hope you liked it, and I hope this helped you out a little bit.